Is this working? Yep, that's working. All right. Excellent. So, welcome to Kensington Astronomy at the Beach, where we come out here to get away from the city lights and be able to see some excellent views. Maybe nothing as excellent as this. I don't know. Part of the picture's cut off. I think this picture was taken in 2002, and we haven't had aurora like this in quite some time. But Kensington, we come out here for the natural beauty, not only for the lakes and the trees, but also for the skies. Now, we know that in the cities, the skies aren't as nice. Why aren't the skies as nice in the city? Because of the lights. We call it light pollution. But when you think pollution, you think horrible chemicals and things. I want to suggest that pollution can be too much of something where it doesn't belong. When fertilizer is used well, we get excellent food. We grow great crops. When we have too much fertilizer, we get the toxic slime that affected Ohio last year. We need factories to build things. But if we don't plan how those factories are going to be around a city, we get yearly smog that is greatly diminishing health in Beijing. But light pollution? We like lights. We need lights to be pretty. We need lights for safety. We need lights for advertising. Just a hint, most of these pictures are actually bad. So what I'm here to tell you about is the fact that it's possible to have bad lighting, too much light, or light going the wrong way. Has anybody lived in a house or seen a house where the light shines directly into people's bedrooms? Was it fun? Did you like it? No. You have to get big curtains, or if it's your own light, you have to replace it, or maybe you can talk to your neighbor to get it replaced. This is called light trespass, where the light is trespassing. It's not where we want it to be. This problem leads directly to another problem with light, glare. I don't know where this highway is, but as you leave the tent and look across the lake, you will be able to see 96, and it looks very much like this. And this is, okay, sure, we need to be able to see the road, but in any sort of rain or snow, that becomes a glare nightmare. Now, the next picture was taken in downtown Ypsilanti a couple years ago. I haven't been down there recently, so I don't know if it still looks like this. But I'm going to give you a couple seconds to find two things that are wrong with this. I'm going to tell you, you're driving down this road at 35 miles an hour. You're going down this road 35 miles an hour, you've got two things that are going to have a big impact on your lifestyle if you don't notice them right away. What did you notice?
The lights on the side street and the glare from our people's headlights.
There's a lot of glare from the acorn lights and a lot of glare from the headlights. Did you notice something different? Okay, what have you got? All the glare on the road. Yes, this is actually around Christmas time, so the roads are wet. Sure. Did anybody notice the red lights? Those are stoplights. No. Oops. You're driving 35 miles an hour down the road in December. There's a couple little reeds in here. The roads may be icy. You may not be able to stop. So what's going on here? We've got all these acorn lights. And often we'll find acorn or globe lights in a bunch, with 2 or 5 all together, because when you have these acorn or globe lights, they're always supported from the bottom, which means the light can't shine down. Sometimes it's big enough to hide a person. So to try to fight that, or compensate for it, you've got multiple lights in a small area. Sometimes you'll have multiple lights next to each other. And each one of those lights takes power. Power requires energy. So All of these are costing somebody, probably whoever pays taxes. I see a bunch of little kids. You don't have to worry about taxes yet, but you'll get there. And when you do, your taxes will be paying for extra lights that we don't technically need. We've got better technology. We can use lights that are pointed down where we need them. Now, when I bought a house, it came with this fancy looking light. And my creepy neighbor said, no, don't change it out. Don't change it out. I like it. So, it is kind of pretty. It's kind of nice. It's already in the house. Why should I go to the expense of changing it out? Well, I could ask my neighbor, why does he like it so much? He likes wearing Hawaiian shirts. Do you see him? No? Let me help out a little. There he is. I don't like. It's a little too creepy for me. Thanks. For most people, when you get ready for bed, you do not drink 2 cups of espresso. It's a bad idea. You don't get to sleep for at least another hour. But if you're looking at a bright television or working under bright lights, it has the same effect as 2 cups of espresso. You're going to be staying up, staring at the ceiling for at least an hour. Bright lights also affect people in other ways. It's been linked to cancer. So having too much light can make you sick. And not just us. Plants need to rest too. You know, they don't have faces and they can't tell us they need to rest, but we can use different wavelengths of photography to say what is a healthy leaf, what is an unhealthy leaf, and plants that are exposed to light all the time are never as healthy. And then my least favorite. Sea turtles hatch every year so that they can see the full moon and figure out where the ocean is. The lights from Miami have gotten bad enough that they can't tell which way the full moon is, and therefore they can't tell which way the ocean is. Light pollution may be causing the extinction of sea turtles. Light pollution. It doesn't sound that bad until you... Cute little turtles. However, it's not all bad. Some cities are making improvement projects, replacing the full spectrum and full uncut off lights to cut off LED lights. You notice that in the top picture, the lights are shining into the camera, and at the bottom they're not, except way in the distance. And yet the road is still lit up. It's still safe. One thing I forgot to put a picture in here. If you are considering putting in new lights for your home or business, motion sensors mean that your light is not on all the time. That'll cut down on your bills. It'll cut down on the light pollution. But you might ask yourself, well, you know, I've got a light. I've got one backyard. I can't make that big a difference. 2 guys, with permission, visited a German dark sky site and set up a dozen lights. I've looked at this picture a number of times, counted all the little points of light. There's a dozen lights there. You can see the big difference that only a dozen lights make. So if you can affect even one light, one bad light, you can make a big difference. So before you go out and start telling people you need to change all your lights, let's make sure that you know what's a good light and what's a bad light. What do you think of this one?
Bad.
It looks pretty bad to me. How about these? This one belongs to a subdivision. There is a sign for the subdivision in there somewhere. I can't read it. It's bad advertising. It isn't just bad lighting, it's dumb lighting. These are pretty bad, and they're becoming less frequent. The billboards don't look like this as much anymore. But what they're getting replaced by are big LED screens that shoot the light out sideways. I live in Ypsilanti, and on Washtenaw, a business that I will not name, has a sign right by the road that flashes lights that are brighter than the oncoming traffic. I see some nodding out there. I think maybe people know what that looks like, even if they don't know which business it is. That's okay. This one's my favorite. Is this a good light?
Bad light.
Stupid light.
This is a light that clearly can't shine on where it's supposed to be. It can't do anybody any good. Back onto the idea of the success story, the idea that a few people can make a difference. 3 researchers from the Lighting Research Center of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute approached this Sunoco station in Springfield, Massachusetts, and said, we'd like to do a study. We'd like to temporarily install some light cutoffs to see if it affects how many people visit, how much money they spend, etc. And they didn't change how many lights there were. They didn't even really change how much the gas station was paying for lights. They were the same lights. They just put a little surround, kind of like a little piece of cardboard on this light here. And it made that much of a difference. So, don't head home now. But when you head home, keep these places in mind. The International Dark Sky Association has a little stamp that they put on lights that you can find at Home Depot and Lowe's. I've seen them. Basically, take a look at the lights in your neighborhood. You can make a difference, and keep looking up. Any questions?